What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I want to talk about Grey Havens. First, some backstory to fill you in and bring you up to speed if you don't already know. Earlier this week, Eurydice, the community manager for Spiral Knights, posted the following announcement in the forums. Hello all, we have some updated news about Spiral Knights. On Wednesday, April 6th, it will be transferred to a company called Grey Havens. Grey Havens is a group of former Three Rings employees who have come together to keep the games and communities we love alive and happy. We very much appreciate your patience in waiting for news of what was happening with Spiral Knights. Some information on the transfer of the game. Cheers, Spiral HQ. Now, I don't play Spiral Knights anymore, but I do keep one eye on the comings and goings out of curiosity more than anything, and I hadn't planned to talk about this, but I've now had a bunch of people commenting on my other videos telling me about this and asking if I would talk about it. Since talking about MMOs and MMO business is my thing, I'll indulge you just this once and we can take a look at what it means for this game, which I'll acknowledge is still important to a lot of my viewers. The initial reaction for most people is great. A new team means a new lease of life, new content, the game can attempt to grow again. Though obviously that wasn't mine because I'm a bitter, jaded cynic. Grey Havens, we've been told, is a group of former Three Rings employees. A little research finds it was in fact founded by the former CEO, principally for the purpose of keeping old Three Rings games alive for people to play. It was described by him as a museum at one point, which honestly I quite like as a concept. And I do wish someone would have done that for Glitch, which does remain to this day one of my favourite MMOs ever. I was a cutesy sack boy who became a drug dealer. What wasn't to love about that? So yeah, if Grey Havens wants to bring back Glitch, I'll be on board for that. That's neither here nor there. So, Grey Havens' actual projects so far have been Bang Howdy and World, both of those online games from Three Rings, and word on the forums from Eurydice is that they're actually looking to pick up Puzzle Pirates too. The idea of Spiral Knights as a museum exhibit is both good and bad. On the good side, the game can still be enjoyed by those who currently enjoy it, and it's still accessible to new players, so people finding out about it now won't be disappointed to find closed servers. You know, like anyone finding about MMOs with drug-dealing sackboys might be. And yes, I'm very, very bitter about that game, in case you're interested. On the other hand, it very much suggests a kind of stasis, that the game is unlikely to change much, even in as far as cosmetic promos. People who are looking for actual developers to make actual content for Spiral Knights might be disappointed to simply find a dusty museum piece that hasn't really changed significantly in the last couple of years anyway. Eurydice did confirm that describing Grey Havens as a museum is kind of an outdated concept from an older era, so maybe if you're feeling optimistic you can take solace in that. But I'm going to ask you to indulge me in a little bit of cynicism as I look at some MMO business, because, well, that's what I do. The problem is, as so many problems in this world are, money. Money is the reason MMOs have to close. Money is also the reason MMOs stay open. Money is, to be fair, the reason for a lot of things, if you're honest here. Three Rings is, if you're unaware, owned by Sega. Yes, Sega as in Sonic. So they get to pull the financial strings as far as Three Rings is concerned. They don't run online games just because they love them so much. It would be nice if they did, but now they run them because they make money, and money keeps the shareholders happy. If a game ceases to make money, and in many cases it's likely we're not talking enough money to keep things ticking over and paying salaries, we're talking actual profit, then they're going to start making moves towards closing that game and focusing on more profitable things. We've already seen that happen to some extent. There were some unconfirmed rumours that Nick's departure may not have been as voluntary as the official story said, and then in more recent times we've seen a good chunk of the team actually let go. Again, one might imagine because Sega didn't think it was worth their money to keep them on board, and we've also seen that odd experiment in the mobile market, where all that Candy Crush and Clash of Clans money is to be found. And of course the less said about cosmetic reskins, the better. So the real likelihood is that Grey Havens picked up Spiral Knights because Sega was probably on the verge of dropping it. Quite how they got it, I couldn't tell you. As one Spiral Knights Redditor rightly observed, people don't tend to just let go of IP. IP can be quite valuable, and even more so if somebody else actually wants it. But I actually don't have any further insight here, all that matters is that they have it. They have a game deemed fundamentally unprofitable by a company whose entire raison d'etre is to make money out of games. In theory, I suppose if the aim was simply to keep a server running, and nothing else, while CEO Daniel James wanders off and goes and does his day job somewhere else, then maybe the money from energy purchases from just a handful of players might do the job. Because to be fair, it's not like there's going to be any prize box money if no one's making any of the prize boxes. If the plan is to pay a small team of artists and developers, and perhaps even pluralizing those words might be a little bit too generous, then I'm not sure how they plan to make that succeed where Sega failed. Even with the revenue streams from Puzzle Pirates and whatever Bang Howdian World are making these days, it does seem like an unlikely task. A free game with an average concurrent player base of about 400 won't cover the costs of a whole lot. So even if we assume the game will pay to keep Greyhaven's lights on and roofs over the staff's heads, and hopefully something better than ramen to fuel them, I can't envision the game growing in any particular way. Ultimately, I still think marketing has been one of the biggest failings, even in Sega's hands. Perhaps more so in Sega's hands, because I know Three Rings did in fact advertise at launch. All the really big free-to-play titles in the mobile market got where they did by advertising a crap ton. Like, on the scale of millions of dollars per day, and that's no exaggeration, because they make way more than that back every single day. I'm sorry to say, but for all Sega's ambitions in the free-to-play market, they've been pretty clueless about the arena, and have just run this game and company into the ground through their mismanagement. A glance at the current Google Play Store shows only one Sega mobile game in the top 100 grossing titles, and that's Football Manager, which isn't even free to play. And to be fair, you don't have to advertise football all that hard, it kind of sells itself. MMOs, however, fall into that old adage of you have to spend money to make money. And if the guys who have all the money to spend aren't even willing to do so, then who does that leave? As ever though, I'd dearly love to be proven wrong, because being wrong means good things would be happening. But I'll wait and see what actually happens. All things considered, it would be nice if Greyhavens actually had some manner of web or social media presence so that a line of dialogue could be established between the current players and the people controlling the game's direction, because, yeah, it's been pretty hard to find any information on Greyhavens. Just look on the forums, nobody else has managed it, I couldn't find anything. I don't know who they are or where they exist. Even if Three Rings were never all that great at that, the forum still existed, so you could at least shout at the TV. Anyway, speaking of shouting at the TV, if you have any thoughts on the subject, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like on it. If you didn't, you can leave a dislike. It's a free country after all. And if you're not already subscribed to me and enjoyed my ramblings, I do ramble about other things, and you can subscribe to hear all of them. But for now, thank you very much for joining me. I've been Meroka, and I will see you next time.